Right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us for this change management session. We'll have a kind of fireplace discussion. Oh, just a quick technical question. So I don't have a mask here. That's kind of really cool, unlike all of you sitting there. But then for the questions, I think you need to ask the question on Slido, and I'm sorry, I can't hand out the microphone. You can't grab the microphone, so please send your questions on Slido, and then I'll ask them to Philippe Journo. So, Philippe, so we're going to talk about change management and the leader vision and so on within the context of this crisis. So my first question to you is, so concerning leaders, so you are a leader, you own a company, you own a business. So how did you react when, well, with the outbreak of COVID-19, right? So what message from you, right, a personal message, let's say, and then what message did you deliver to your teams and clients? Right, well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Gaël. So I started, let's say, with a big failure, if I may say. It so happens I was on vacation in Dubai at the time, and during the February vacation, I noticed there were no Asians around, right? And when I came back in February 23rd, I was terrified, because I was understanding what was happening, because it came right from the east, and so my approach was completely wrong. I brought together the 30 top managers from a company, and my message to them was one of big danger. So we are going to, we're faced with a huge storm, so no more delegation, I'm taking control, right? So it's, you know, the storm, the ship in the storm, and so on. That was my story. And I wasn't noticing that, you know, the weather was so nice outside there, and no one was understanding what I was saying, because no one had experienced what I had experienced in Dubai, right? And so I asked them this question. So, okay, who wants to leave? If you want to leave, okay, well, we're going to do a transaction, okay, because it's going to be rough, right? And then 24 hours later, I met with the HR manager and asked her if she had people come to her asking to leave the company. She said no, but she told me that several asked me, you know, is he all right? Is there a problem with his couple, with his children? Did something happen during the vacation? What's wrong with him, right? So, okay, paradoxically, we managed to adapt quite fast to the COVID crisis, right? And this allowed us to shut down the major sites in shopping centers, right? You know, closing down a site with 30 to 40,000 people on a Saturday, right? Used to have 40,000 people on a Saturday, it's not that easy, right? So you need to discuss with a lot of people. So, yeah, paradoxically, we were 3 weeks earlier, let's say, right? But that was really by chance, because I didn't have I didn't really study my approach, right? It was just that, yeah, there were no people there in Dubai. The beaches were just completely empty, and on my trip back, on the flight back, I was really afraid and terrorized. I said, what was your message for your partners, your clients? Were you also as worried with them? No, not really. Because you see, what happened is, okay, we work with 3 major sectors. So the first one is retail, okay? And then we also work on big urban projects. We have big projects ongoing, Ecodo-Nouti, TML, and others. And then we have a third sector, which is the hotel business. And so, yeah, we needed to come up with answers fitted to each business, right? And so the most radical one was obviously with the retailers, because we announced on March the 10th that we were stopping all the rents during the lockdown period, right? And so obviously, well, this made a lot of enemies, because many companies thought that I was just abandoning the fight, where I was working on solidarity funds, you see. And this is basically what the government tried to do, is they tried to tell society, we need to come up with new ways of doing solidarity. So this is what we did with our brands, this is what we did with the people in cinemas, restaurants, and so on. We just completely stopped the rent. How much did it cost? Well, a lot of money, over 20 million euros, right? But then you see, the way I felt about this is that, okay, we have this DNA, so you can't say, okay, we love our clients and we are close to our clients and then just go about and try to negotiate some kind of crap with them. You can't say, okay, you can't open the shop, but then my shopping center can be open because I have some people in there who are doing food, and so, I'm not forcing you to close your shop, and so, you're going to have to continue paying. See, no, that was indecent. It would have been indecent. So, especially if you compare with what some retailers experience in this COVID crisis, especially if you take the hotels. I mean, had we had open hotels, it would have been the same. Anyway, okay, first consequences on the companies and the economic model. When you came back from Dubai, you had to change your approach, change the way you do things, perhaps put down your ambition, and so on. Well, okay, we had a reset plan, that's what we called it. And this was about, okay, everywhere we are open, we need to protect what we have, our portfolio and our clients and all of us, right? Our assets. And then everywhere where we are working, well, we need to continue working and continue. And by the way, we had many bad experiences with companies who were doing the works because they wanted to increase the price of works because, they argued they'd have less profitability because it's going to cost more and so on, blah, blah, blah. And then for major deployments, well, we know that cultural projects take longer, especially for office projects, it's going to take more time. So, yeah, in a way, we had to adapt our answer to each situation. What about ambitions? Well, the only thing, okay, we had planned things for 3 years, but we're just going to do it in 5 years, you see? Oh, and if I may add, right, the profitability rate, which we require for the future projects, obviously are going to have to be higher, simply because the banks that played along with us, now that they've been coming up with their PGs and other type of loans, well, obviously now they're going to ask us to come up with much more capital for the future loans, right? We've seen a few changes already as soon as March of this year, right? Banks told us, okay, you need to come up with your own funds. And so we know that we need to come up with our own funds, and this means that we need a higher profitability. So there's going to be kind of the capital rotation is going to be slower. And this is nonetheless going to allow us in a macro approach to, let's say, reduce the impact of what is going to be a really big crisis. Okay, good. Now, in the way you manage the company, and namely in change management, okay, if we just really dive in, Compagnie de Phalsbourg, how did you adapt? How did you reorganize the company, the next meeting after you met with the 30 top leaders? Okay, what was really difficult is when we came back, you see, because some people told us, okay, well, we've been thinking, and you see, we need to come back to the DNA, the spirit of the company when you created it 30 years ago, and the spirit, the kind of the pioneering spirit, or let's say, at least different approach we had. And some people did not agree with that. And then some people believed they just didn't want to work with us anymore. So, yeah, there was some point in time which was kind of awkward, and some people just left the company, and we didn't really weren't expecting that. And they just told us, well, no, we're not really interested in doing this anymore. We want to do something else, and it happened quite fast, by the way. So we had 2-3 months, which from a human point of view were really difficult, not from the business point of view, because the business took up quite fast. We opened up shopping centres on the 11th of May, and we had what we called, revenge shopping with growth rates, which are so big. I don't even want to talk about them, to be honest. We had a shopping centre in Plaisir, just outside of Paris, which was really good in terms of growth figures, let's say. And so, but we understood that some people had been traumatized by the crisis, right? And on May 12th, we believed that we'd be all together sitting in my office, but we were only 5. And so then we understood that we were not on our own, and that life had changed, that society at large had changed. Yeah. And those people who left, were you surprised? Were you... How can I say? I mean, you know, life is life, it's their life, and there are laws, they had a contract, well, you know, and... But you see, when you invest in people and someone tells you, okay, I'm so proud of working for this company, it's great, the company is great, and what we do here is it's great, it's positive for society, and then the next day after lockdown they just tell you, okay, we're leaving, boom, it's difficult, tough. How do you organize the model with the people who remained, right? Who stayed along? Well, we just, you know, we just take them on board and make them follow us with the spirit we had at the beginning. You see, I noticed that with growth, the company had slowed down in a way, and that I'd kind of lost contact with some of my employees, and I find it was quite nice to kind of have this contact again and work on what I would call physical projects, right, with the people. And that's really, I think, the big difference with people who work in catering, for instance, in restaurants. If you're in a pizzeria, if your pizza is not good, well, people are not going to come back. But if you if the building you're building is ugly, well, it's awful for society and for a long time, right? And so La Compagnie de Phalsbourg has been working on trying to make life better for people. So we do this in the way we design our shopping centers. In Plaisir, for instance, we completely tore down this huge complex and created something that's quite nice. And 800 people are being employed, by the way. And this was not 10 years ago. This was in August, you see. So yeah, so we're quite proud, and we're proud to see that it's working and that people are happy with it. And then and working in Paris also, we're very happy to work on projects in the center of Paris. With working with patrons, by the way, because this is a different approach, and yeah, we're really happy to be part of these projects, of this new ecosystem, and by the way, you see, we're working on this project in Paris with a very historical heritage, and so we're very happy to do things we can be proud of. And now, making contact, or perhaps rebuilding contact with the employees. What you mean by this is that the company was too big? Yeah, to be honest, at some point I wasn't happy to go to work because I only had to manage the problems of everyone. Yeah, but that's because you grow. Yeah, I know. So this is no longer a problem? No? What is the profile of the company now? How many people work for you? 170 people. Now the thing is, okay, you can be happy. Anyway, I am happy the same way I was happy 10 years ago, right? And this is so important for me. Because you see, at some point in life, you only have to deal with crap and shitty things, you see. So, well, if at least your work life is nice, it makes a big difference. But it doesn't change anything about our project, right? Occitanie is great. Mina is a great project. There's so many different great projects. But then your daily life changes. What do you expect from the employees you work with? You want them to be many different Philippe Journos? No. I want them to feel happy working for us. I want them to experience great things in working for us. I believe that one marker of success is that people don't see time go by. You see, for them to be proud of what they're doing, you know, when you work in real estate and that you do what you do, at some point you have this result, right? The building is there, and you've changed the landscape, right? Be it in a city or outside of the city, right? And I want people to be proud of what they do and to just enjoy life at work. But it doesn't mean that you won't have issues or problems. It doesn't mean that life is going to be easy, right? we all have problems, issues, right? We all experience these problems. Okay, what about talents now? How, in a time of crisis, do you manage talents? That's perhaps not something you do in your company, but perhaps in order to let's say save a bit of cash, you're going to have to work on reducing this or that, and some people are going to perhaps be worried of what the future is made of in the company. So how do you manage this? Well, okay, to be honest, since May, right, or let's say from May 11th to August, let's say, this was the complicated phases, right? And now, since August, we are all online again in a way, and we've started hiring new people. More people. Now, you see, when everything is okay and no problems, people know what they have to do, they share the values of the company, there's nothing you need to manage, really. So, yeah, my goal, I'd say, is I want to manage as little as possible. And in recent years, we had created business units and so on. It was awful because we created this company with values, and part of the values was team spirit. But each time we had a new business unit, one business unit had success, and the other business unit was jealous, and that's not good. Yeah, but that's emulation, competition. Isn't that good? No, it's bad competition. I'd say no. Emulation is when we win all together, and when we are happy for someone else in the company for having done something good, right? So you tore down silos, business units. Yeah. Well, we've changed quite a lot of things and torn down quite a lot of things. Yeah, to be honest. But then again, I lost the joy of coming to work. And when you see, I created this company 30 years ago. I've been in real estate for 20 years now, and one day perhaps you're going to do 1 million euros of rent, and this is going to be great. Okay, you do this, and then you reach 90 million euros, and then you feel that you're a loser, that you've that you've in a way wasted your life. That's not good. That's not good. And that meant that I had done something wrong that did not fit within the DNA of the company. And I did it, I assume it, and okay, I think it was perhaps normal for us to do it. And as long as I'm at the head of this company, we're going to be a company of entrepreneurs, of pioneers, of people who want to change life, to do things that are great. Because in real estate, if people put their trust in you, to invest in, let's say, part of the city, let's say, well, you need to be up to the game, and this was something that we didn't really care about anymore. And this passion, well, we're starting to find it again. Listen, I have this question for you now. Why did you not sell your company? Why are you holding on? To be honest, we were, the way I put it, we were kind of this washing machine and being. Didn't really see what was happening, and we had so many contracts and so many projects out there. I am la Compagnie de Phalsbourg, see, so our structure is so complex. Now I didn't really consider that. I'm 59. I told myself, no, you know what, I'm just going to go on. But then so many people I know and friends did that and made that choice, to sell, and then and discovered they had a cancer, and that's not for me. No. I created this company when I was 29, and I never considered that money was the goal, right, in my life. No. I try to teach my employees that money is, well, obviously it's necessary. It's the petrol you need to have in your tank if you want to, to continue your journey, right? Okay. But it's not the petrol that's important in the journey, right? It's the journey itself. It's the trip. But are you perhaps going to train people to take over from you? Well, yeah, obviously, yeah. Is there going to be the after Journo? Well, obviously there's going to be an after Journo period. There's, I have a daughter, and she's been quite successful actually in her life, and she's been able to make a shopping center go completely online. That's so great, and I'm so proud for her, and so proud about her. Then I have this guy who's vice chair in charge of Spain, and okay, but then hey, I'm not done yet, right? I'm not done. But what is for sure is that we need to finish all the projects that we've started. Right, we've been entrusted with various projects by local communities, and we need to deliver. We need to deliver. Okay, failures. Yeah, failures, and what do you forget them? No, but that's part of life. Anyway, okay. Let's come back to talent. How are you going to attract people to your company? Is it the impact you can have on a city? Is it just a business? Is it being part of a team where you're going to have fun? Is it being an entrepreneur, being a bit crazy somewhere? Is it perhaps a cocktail of all of this? Well, to start with, you see, we try to be as let's say as close to the people, the end user, the end client, right? When we start a project, what can we do best for these people? Now, I'm going to repeat myself here. I want us to come back to the pioneer spirit, which led us to do things differently. Right? So the people we want to attract are people who really have this pioneer spirit, who want to do things differently. So obviously we're going to perhaps be more selective, and we don't want someone who's going to tell us, okay, oh, you're a good company, and you're involved in nice projects, let's say. No, I'm not interested in that. We want people who want to experience adventures, right? Okay, let me play devil's advocate. How can you hire good people in commerce, right? So many people say that commerce is dead. In the hotel business, which so many people say is over. In development, where so many people say it's so difficult to develop because there's so many rules and regulations. In Bordeaux, for instance, they've come up with a tree charter. Who's going to want to work in this business? Well, there's several things here. We did not wait for anyone to invest since 2004 in sustainable development, right? And we were the ambassadors of so many things. Okay, our project, Millarbre, right? 1,000 trees, right? And so we take the symbol, which is the bypass, and plant 1,000 trees on the bypass of a city. That just goes to show that we want to create, and at the same time bear in mind that we need to do this with sustainable development rooted in our projects, right? And I believe that, what we can learn so much from let's say from history. Okay, if we take a look back to Egypt and pharaohs who built the pyramids and so on. Okay, well, they perhaps did this bearing in mind sustainable development, but they're not ruling the world anymore, right? So no, we need to take into account several things, and we need to take into account the context of our society as it is now, right? Culture is so important. Culture is going to save us, right? Now, what's the link with our activity? Well, we have our periods, right? There've been ups and downs in our activity, and that's life. If we take, for instance, 2015, 2018, right? In these years, French cities were back on track with ambition, which was not the case before that, and you know this, right? But then this ambition is being challenged. I talked about the 1,000 tree project. Well, some local communities, local authorities are not going to agree with this or that part of your contract. So there's so much contradiction out there, and it's quite difficult. And so you need to be, you need to open your mouth quite wide and shout quite loud in order for other people to hear you. And yeah, but then you see, I'm not under the impression that, or how should I say this? Okay, since COVID. Each time I met with real estate leaders, they were explaining that, okay, they made a better deal than us because they had collected the money from their clients, where we had, offered and let's say we did not try to pull out every single euro from our clients, right? But then again, okay, we have a different approach, and so. I believe that, those people who are going to be, let's say, fair with their clients and those who are not fair, and let's meet again in 5 to 10 years and we'll see who really will have won, okay? And this crisis is, I believe, a moment of truth, and it's certainly been the case with regards to social interaction, but not only, you see? And if we look at our results, outlet, we are up by 38% in August. In Plaisir, outside of Paris, it's been so good. And we had 120,000 people with a mask, okay, first weekend. So it just goes to show that people are still going out and still going for shopping and so on. The hotel business, great industry. And by the way, there's real estate, there's design, there's human interaction in the hotel business. And so it's not because the world stopped for 2 months, and in the whole history of humanity is the first time this happens. This does not mean that life has stopped forever now. And I believe in 2022, 2023, we're going to come back to a, let's say, more normal life, and people are going to want to start traveling again, discovering the world, and we need to perhaps see life post-vaccine, see, and we'll see how the world will have changed. Well, yeah, we need to find a vaccine, right? Yeah, but they'll find a vaccine. Okay, let me please end this with the human factor in innovation. The COVID-19 crisis has, in a way, confirmed the victory of the GAFA, at least if we look at the stock market. What's left for the other companies, for these companies who are not Amazon, Google, and perhaps Tesla also, before they go completely crazy? Well, there's the whole of the world. The problem of this revolution we're experiencing right now is that it's creating far less jobs than the previous revolutions. And that's a real issue. It's a real issue. It's a real problem. The Industrial Revolution created millions and millions of jobs. The digital revolution is not creating millions of jobs. When you look at the human impact, or the impact on humanity rather, of Google or Facebook, it's just nothing to do with the impact of inventing electricity. And so, yeah, this is worrying in a way. I'm quite worried about this. But then again, the world has always developed aiming for more service for humanity, right? And then productivity and profitability, right? But now we are only about profitability. I think we are in a great period in life or in time, and we just need to make the most of what digital has to offer. But this digital revolution is going to destroy millions of jobs, if I understand correctly. Who knows? We'll see. Each revolution creates a bigger market than the previous revolution, you see? So, so airports, for instance, that was bigger than ports, right? Then the outskirts commerce was bigger than city center commerce, you see? So there are always going to be opportunities. Then I believe we just need to try to avoid certain things, and namely that the role of humanity, of the human being, is just being is that of a consumer, because that's boring, right? And this is certainly not the way I want to see things. Okay, one last question for you. What is innovation going to be tomorrow? And where is it going to be? Everywhere. Everywhere we'll see innovation. As long as people are going to continue thinking, right, and thinking about finding solutions to just improve their life and their business and their industry, so on, there are going to be innovation. You always talk about breakthrough innovation, but there are so many different types of innovation, small innovation, which help improve industries and the economy as a whole. So yeah, innovation is not just one or zero, right? Big or nothing. No, it's loads of many different things, and we can all be part of innovation, right? And the way I see it is that the humans need the social factor. They need to interact. They need to get together, be it digitally, be it in the flesh, right? So, but let's not forget the human beings, right? So yeah, so we need physical places to meet. We need digital places to meet. Kind of a hybrid approach, right, to meeting. Yeah, but basically, the people who are in the room here, they could be sitting at home, listening on their smartphone. What's important is that they're interested in what we have to say. And let me repeat this again. We work for the people. La Compagnie de Phalsbourg is not about profitability and just making more money. No, it's about our service for our society, right? And that's our engine in a way. And it's true. If you work well and if the service you provide is good, the people will pay you for it, right? In different ways. Because they're going to go to your shopping center, they're going to go to your hotel, they're going to go to your restaurant, right? If you work for people and if you do it well, they're going to reward you. Right, thank you very much, Philippe. 3 minutes left, and I have a few questions, but I don't have my glasses. These
are questions from a journalist in the room, Jacques Paquier from Le Grand Paris newspaper. He says, we're told that new tertiary sector is stalled at the moment, fully. Is it the case for the Greater Paris region? Well, yes, it's a bit complex at the moment. When you look at the property market, retail is having problems because there's no longer any retail, but those who are doing retail will be in a comfortable situation because the entry cost will be complex and difficult for people coming onto the market. And for the tertiary sector, well, everyone's seen that that offices are half full or half empty, and people might have budgeted 100, but they're going to only get 60. So what I think is that contemporary tertiary sector with the latest standards will work. Why? Because people who have 20,000 square meters of offices are going to think to find new offices to set themselves on 10,000 square meters. So the new market, this is paradoxical, is going to pick up much quicker, and then the tertiary sector in the first ring, within the first ring road, or the slightly obsolete tertiary sector is going to restructure and become something else. There are very important and high needs and requirements for housing, also for people who live around the city, so also for health and everything. Now, the consequences of COVID, this is from Jacques. He's asking all the questions. So on the exit situations and within the context of Paris and the metropolis, is this going to be pushed back? Well, yes, of course, by 1 or 2 years. And in fact, people aren't really thinking of anything else because of COVID. We've been delayed by at least 6 months because of lockdown, and I think that things are going to be more difficult to raise money, to start projects going. Is it going to push them back, or do you think some of these projects will not actually happen? Well, we've done a strategic review of projects. 2 of the projects were stopped by the local elected councillors, and we're talking about these, and then some of the projects have been pushed back to later because we know that the market will not be ready in a couple of years or in a year, or either that, or we'll have to find new liquidity, new cash flow to accept the cap rates that are the same as the ones in 2018. So 2018, 2019, we were lending money at rates that were lower than the ones that we need and will need for the future projects. So this is a natural cycle. It slows down the rotation of capital, and it means that some of the projects might be sidelined. And the problem is that we need to convince councillors. Some of them turn up and they say, okay, well, let's start from scratch. You know, we have to convince these councillors that the world has changed. What, they haven't understood? Some of them haven't, or they haven't, or pretend they haven't. We all have to adapt. That's the real message, really, I'm giving you. That's our conclusion. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Philippe, and give him a big round of applause. Thank you. And see you soon.